Welcome back to Beyond the Charts, episode 6 now? Damn, it's already been 6 episodes. It's been fucking wild journey. Emmanuel, how you doing today? How's trading? How's
I'm
everything?
doing well. I'm doing well. Trading was not bad. A little bit slow-ish, but ended up being a pretty decent day. Yeah, but raining out here in Florida. It's always raining, so the drive over here was interesting. But besides that, pretty nice day. Elections are tonight. We're not
Yeah,
going to
later
talk about
today.
that too much, just because
We'll just see who wins.
we'll see who wins. Yeah, I mean,
Actually didn't trade today. Like, I looked at the markets and there was actually a decent move that I saw, but I was being a little passive with it because election day and it was pretty, like, kind of right off the open. And I like to wait the first 50 minutes at the market, 9:30 to 9:45. I'm not really trading that much. I'm more just looking and waiting for direction. Market but like kind of like took off. I saw the setup. I took off really fast. I didn't get in, and he went straight up, and then he went sideways. So I didn't find a trade. I'm like, I'm not really gonna sit around and watch the whole day because it might just be choppy. And it actually ended up being choppy, because the fucking elections today or whatever. So, but tomorrow should be really interesting. I'm excited to see. Now we get fucking past this whole election shit. I can stop seeing on my FYP every day like nonstop videos about this poll saying this poll saying that. Nobody fucking knows. Let's move on and let's fucking trade.
I agree. I'm kind of like sick of it too. I'm sick of the idea of like being passive, because like, being like a mentor, like with people watching you trade. You don't want to come on and be like, yeah, let's be super aggressive on election day. Like, you kind of just have to be like, yeah, we're gonna be passive today. But I'm glad to like just move on from that and just like go back to the normal flow of like waking up, doing the watch list or whatnot, and just like getting right into it instead of
Uh,
like being focused on the news constantly.
I wanted to ask you, do you use like any indicators in your trading?
So I don't use any indicators besides a couple very, very simple ones. These are like probably the simplest ones. So I use the 20 period simple moving average, the 200 period simple moving average, and volume. That's it. I've never experimented with other indicators. I've never tried other, anything else, any other tools, and I just like found success with those. They're so simple, especially like the 20 MA, but it's just so effective and powerful if you know how to use it right. And I think also the 20 MA is usually, I believe it's one of the most widely used indicators. And I think that's why it's so effective, because like it's almost like I put myself into the eyes of other traders and to see what they see, and then I can kind of take advantage of that.
No, I have two charts open. I use TradingView where I have no indicators at all, but then on my Thinkorswim I do have two, technically three. I got the pivot point, which is a custom indicator that only me and a handful of people have. Then I have I think it's the most used indicator is the volume weighted average price. The VWAP, because again, I kind of like what you're saying, is a lot of people use it, so I like to just kind of know what people
Hmm.
are thinking, and it does give some information like, okay, are buyers in control, sellers in control today? And I actually like the 200 exponential moving average. That's another pretty solid one, which I find
Hmm.
there's some consistency to it. Now, I'm not using them like, I'm like trade. I'm not really using them to trade. I'm just kind of like keeping an eye on it and then kind of just taking a look. But I would say if I had to probably pick one that was like my favorite, probably the VWAP, volume weighted average price, not to be confused with WAP, the song. It's called the VWAP, and I do think it has some purpose. Like especially on really trend days, it'll be very very effective. And those are the days I personally struggle the most because I like to look for trend reversals. So sometimes I can just look at my other chart to give me another point of view. It's like, am I being a little too narrow focused on like wanting to catch the bottoms, the tops, or should I be just sticking to the trend? So that's the main reasons I use them for. But I feel like indicators do get like extremely like a lot of hate because a lot of people just want to use them like black and white, like hey, get in, get out. I just want to follow an indicator, so they think they're not useful. But I do think there's like some things that you can take out of certain indicators, even like candlestick patterns. Like I do think there's a little bit of truth with everything if like done right.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think a lot of people, they like the idea of, oh, I can add an indicator to my chart and boom, I'm going to know exactly where to buy or sell. And an indicator should never make a trade, but it could break a trade. So for example, I'll never look at a trade and just be like, oh, because the 20 MA is doing exactly this, I'm going to get in. That's not the only reason I would want to enter that setup. But if there is a trade where the 20 MA, like for example, like I don't let's say we have a big drop during the day and it starts to consolidate. I wouldn't want to go to reshort it or to like continue with that trend unless the 20 MA starts to catch up to price and it kind of like bases into the 20 MA, for example. So if it's super far away from the 20 MA, I won't be entering it. I won't be that aggressive, right? So like if it's really, I call it extension. That's like the distance between price and the 20. If it's really extended, I won't trade it, right? But I'll never trade it just because it's right at the 20, if that makes sense. Like it'll never make a trade for me, but it could definitely stop me from taking a trade, if that makes sense.
And I guess it's important because you always want to be like always on the safer side as a trader. I think. We were talking earlier about like being passive, and a lot of times why like I feel like as mentors or coaches we have to be a little more passive than we normally would be like on our own. It's because we know beginner traders are kind of like, I just want fucking full power. I want to make money, so they're very much on like on the edge, and we have to be like, no, you need to fucking chill out. So I think that's like the main thing with it. For me, sometimes when I see like price get really far, for example, the VWAP or something, I do start thinking though in my head, I'm like, okay, I think you might need to like retrace back. I think this stock needs to cool off, or this indices need to cool off. Which for them it's a lot. Like if an index is up 2-3%, is very like abnormal. So I think there's a little maybe different truth in it. I think if you're trading like a mid cap, like you mostly trade, it's probably like those can have like bigger, like longer extended moves. Like it's pretty rare for indices to be like, we're up 10% in fucking 4 or 5 days. Like that's a pretty fucking wild move for them.
For sure.
Would you say like which your like what's an average day for like stock you trade? Like are they moving like 10, 20, 30%?
For sure. So we talked about it on previous pods, but most of the stocks that I trade are gapping stocks. And my strategies are I usually trade in the direction of the gap like 90% of the time, 95%. There are exceptions where I'll trade like the gap fill where I'm expecting it to, go against the gap. But usually if it gaps and I'm trading in the direction, yeah, they can move 10, 20%, 30%, absolutely. Like that's kind of why I trade gaps in the first place, because we see those big percentage movers throughout the day most of the time on stocks that have a catalyst, some sort of catalyst. And sometimes that's on a stock that's not gapping and just news comes out and it moves like crazy. Or that catalyst is, some news or earnings or something that occurred overnight, caused the stock to gap, and then, I'll look to trade in the direction of the gap and capitalize on that like catalyst.
So you don't like gap fills? Because I sometimes like indices again rarely have this, but I will look at a gap fill if there is on the chart. Like sometimes because I'm thinking, okay, if I'm looking at a gap, what is a gap when we look at it? It's when there was very low volume and there's either only buyers and only sellers, so price is going to want to rebalance into that gap. That means trading back into the gap, fill up that imbalance of volume that there was. So it kind of makes it like, I don't want to say like a free trade, but it makes it like somewhat like potential longs or shorts depending on the direction of the gap. But you don't look at it at all?
Usually not. Like in the situations where I would go against the gap, like let's say we're up 5 green bars in a row on the daily chart. Like 5 days in a row we're up big. Every bar is becoming increasingly larger, straight green. And then on the 6th day, it gaps up 20%. That would be a situation where I would look to trade against the gap because we're like extended on the daily. We're exhausted on the daily chart. On the higher time frames, like you could think of it, the buyers have, in theory, exhausted themselves. Or we're up so much on the daily, 5 green bars in a row. Then we gap an additional 20% to the upside. I'll look to kind of go short. And the same thing applies the opposite to the downside. But besides like situations like that, I always like to go in the direction of the gap. And let's say it gaps down, right? And it starts to move up and fill the gap. I just like will kind of ignore it. Like I won't really pay attention to it. There are I would say generally speaking, I wouldn't pay attention to it.
So I guess what you call like a blow off top. I call those like liquidation events, and I think it can happen like to the downside and the upside when you have like let's say you consistently green daily candles, but the volume is like kind of consistent within those daily candles. I'm just thinking, hey, there's a ton of buyers there, like it's gonna continue up. But then let's say you gap up extensively on like that 6th day, like you said, and the volume now it's like 3 times the average it was the previous days that was going up. I'm thinking, hey, that's more like a liquidation event. A big player that was short had to close his position, take a big loss on it, and those tend to be the tops or bottom of the market.
Yeah.
Very similar to the opposite. Like if you look at Bitcoin, where did we bottom? When all the big players got liquidated, and that forms a bottom, people take advantage of it. They buy it up. There was a saying that I had learned. I forgot who I learned it from, but it's a saying that the market likes to top on good news and likes to bottom on bad news. So when you
Yeah.
see somebody go, oh my god, this guy got liquidated, lost all his money, had to sell all his Bitcoin. The market likes it because that's like the worst news possible. And now we're behind that. Now that means there is nothing else negative to go along with the asset or the stock, which means a bottom can be formed and they can buy it up. And similarly goes for a positive thing. Let's say you have a stock that I don't know finds gold in like some mountain somewhere and it blows up and everybody buys it. But then a day or two into it, or a week into it, sometimes they're like, okay, that was the best thing that could have possibly happened to the stock, which means we brought it up to the top price currently based on the news or based on the fundamental analysis of the stock. There can be nothing else. Then take profits and you sell it back down.
Mhm.
So that's the way I always approach. Like now, again, I trade mostly the indices now,
Yeah.
but for many years of my life, I was trading those mid cap stocks. So like it reminds me of like how I used to trade them and look at them. I would say it's definitely a lot more fun trading like news and mid caps. With indices, I find them more like consistent. Like every day, I can kind of look for the same exact setups. Like I have like 3 setups I look for. They hit consistently like 75% of the times. Positive risk to reward. I'm chilling. I can make a good amount of money with it. But I think it's good to be versatile once you fucking trading for 10 years. Maybe not in the beginning, but once you eventually trade.
I agree. I think versatility is the only way you could sustain profitability over the long run. Like my first 2.5, 3 years, I like exclusively scalped, where I would read order flow and I would go for like very small fluctuations in price with like good share size. And I would like it would move up 3, 4 cents and I'd be able to read that looking at the order flow. And I would get in with like, 10, 15,000 shares. 3, 4 cents on 10,000 shares, 300, 400 bucks, right? And that could happen in like literally 3, 4 minutes. Boom. So like that's the way that I traded for a few years. And then those trades, those level 2 setups, order flow setups, like disappeared from the markets. Like stopped. This was last summer. Completely just, it wasn't
Why though? Like why would it just stop? Like
it's not that it
disappearing?
stopped. Like it was just like not a profitable strategy anymore. Like temporarily, like it just there weren't good opportunities anymore. I'm not sure why. But it just happened where like I wasn't seeing the same setups anymore. So I had to like completely adapt my trading and like literally learn a completely new style where I would, get in, have that traditional stop loss, size my position and, you know, wait, 15, 30, maybe sometimes a couple hours for the trade to play out. I would never do that. I used to almost every single one of my trades was like in and out within a couple minutes. Every single one for like my first 2.5 years.
You never swing traded?
A little bit, but I never I never pursued it like I pursued day trading just because of like time, especially now, like being like an educator, making content online, running a business. I don't have like the time to swing trade, like because you need, I feel like it requires work after hours.
Well, don't they say swing trading is like better for people that don't have time because like you can get in and you can just let it ride, say your
Yeah,
limit
that's true.
orders. I think like the issue that I have with that though is whenever you're swing trading, you're always stressing. Like I hate the feeling of like I have this position open and I'm like checking my phone and like
And during the day,
you wanna think that's like, hey, I'm swing trading, I'm just gonna enter, I'm not worried about it. But the reality is if you have money in the line in the markets, you're always worried about it. So you're checking it. You can't sleep at night. You wake up at freaking 5 in the morning, just checking your position. Did it go up? Did it go down? Was there any crazy news? So I personally don't like that. I don't like that feeling. I want to enjoy my day. I want to get in, take my trades, whether it's good or bad, close it. But at least I already know the results. I don't have to think about it the whole day. People think like swing trading is this magical thing that's great for people that are busy, but in reality of it, it's so very emotionally stressful. Obviously, it's not easy. Tends to require a little bit more money because need to take a larger position size overnight. And lastly, it's like I hate the feeling of it.
I think 100%. I think people think it's like easier than day trading. It's just different. Like it's not that one is easier or harder. They're just completely different. But one thing I will say that at least when you're day trading, right? And I don't know, let's say you're in three positions and you don't like your P&L fluctuating that much, right? The positions are going crazy. You can kind of like de-risk yourself. You can like tightly manage one of the positions, just get out, right? But with swing trading, you see such massive P&L shifts all the time because you could have like 5, 6 trades open. You know what I mean? I feel like you have more risk because you're waiting a longer period of time if you have more trades. Every day, your P&L, especially throughout the trading day. Like imagine day trading, and then you see your swing trade account, the P&L going up a few thousand, then down, and then up, right? As you're day trading, it's a lot to like handle. You know what I mean? Unless like unless you before the market open reset all your stops for the swing trades, so like you don't have to worry about those at all, but that's still, it's a lot of work, you know what I mean, especially if you're day trading like full time or a lot.
So people always say like swing trading is like for people that are busy, right? And then people are like, well, I can't day trade because I have a job or I go to school. Like, what would you tell to those people? Like for me, with trading indices, is the market is only closed 1 hour a day. So I always tell people like, there's no way you cannot find time. Like you have 24 hours a day, 1 hour is closed, so you have 23 hours. Like if you're busy 23 hours straight, you don't have any time, then maybe you just don't even look at trading. Like it's not even a valuable option. So for me, like when people tell me that, and it's like why they want to go into swing trading, I tell them, well, trading indices, you can trade the futures, which is the ES, and then Q, which is simply the S&P 500, the Nasdaq, and you can kind of trade them all day long. So that's kind of what I tell them. So what would you tell your students that are like, or people that just ask you, hey, I'm too busy to fucking day trade during the day. I have work or whatever, working 9 to 5. What's like the advice you give them?
To be honest, since I only day trade, like I only teach really specifically day trading, if they don't have time, I'm just like honest with them. Like, listen, like ideally you have if you could at least trade from like the open to like 10:30
So with
a.m.
your
or
strategy, you have
something.
to be there at the open, like 9:30. Like, can you trade before hours or no?
No, you can't trade before. So I've never traded
Even if
pre-market.
there is some brokers that lets you buy shares pre-market, right? There are some brokers that do that.
I think so. I don't think you could. Can you do that on Toss? I don't think you can because
I
I've tried. It never fills me. Oh, you
I
could.
think you
You could.
can. You just have to request.
Yeah.
You have to go to the support team and request something. I forget. They always changing like the hours and stuff. I think it's 6 a.m. you can start. I could be wrong, but I know there's some other brokers like I don't know if you've ever heard of Lightspeed,
Yeah.
which is a
Lightspeed.
pretty expensive broker. Like they require $25,000 or more to deposit. Their fees are somewhat expensive,
Commissions are crazy.
commissions
on
are crazy.
Lightspeed.
But the two benefits they have, you can trade at least since 4 a.m. And you can also short just about any stock out there, which a lot of like penny stocks, mid cap stocks might not have shares outstanding to short. They offer those, so that's kind of like the give and take of that.
Lightspeed also.
And it's fast,
It's so fast.
fast
Like
fails.
really fast fills. But like so, for example, on Toss, Thinkorswim, there are times where like if I'm placing like a 20 to 30,000 share order, right, on like
You get like different fills at different price, right? Like you get kind of like orders of different fills.
they hold your orders sometimes,
And
especially.
it glitches sometimes too.
Oh, 100%. It's happened a bunch of times where on a low price stock, I have like 20, 30, sometimes, 40, 50K. Sometimes, like I'm getting size like that. And I literally, like, I try to sell and I always break them up. Like, let's say I have like 50,000 shares. I'll break it up into like 15K, 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 right? And then I'll just exit the last five. But if you just try to exit the entire 50K, they won't fill you. Like they'll hold your order and then you'll get filled at a worse price. But on Lightspeed, they'll immediately like doesn't matter the size.
So you don't want to switch over? Like you wouldn't switch over because it seems like once you get to a certain level, like it makes sense to invest in the
Yeah, that's
proper
true.
broker. Like now with me, like I trade indices, so like that's not really gonna be an issue ever. Like there's just so many shares always traded. Like it's like maybe very rarely you'll get some glitches, but I think it's more the software glitching than anything. Which now they've switched over to Charles Schwab. I feel like it's been a little more like, man, I've kind of been like I've been thinking about switching to something else like Webull, even maybe I'll let it try or something like that. But for you that you're like kind of buying shares really, like would you switch over to Lightspeed? Have you considered that, or do you just hey I like TOS and I'll stick to that?
I just always like love Toss. Like I got so used to it.
Yeah.
It's hard.
What about like just charting? Like because that's what I have. I have TradingView is actually my charts. My main charts.
really?
I'm looking at TradingView. I really like TradingView. I got purple and teal candlesticks. A lot of people give me shit. I think
Really?
they're
That's
beautiful, dude. Like my candlesticks.
Wait,
Like,
so which one is the green? That's purple?
look, I'm gonna show it to you. Yeah, the teal is like I think my chart. I have like the best looking charts like ever. Some people shit on them, but like Like people that you can go watch my YouTube videos. Like that's my charts
That's
color.
see, like for me, like I like can't tell the difference between teal.
Eh,
I'm like colorblind.
Oh yeah, if you're
I like
colorblind, you're
can't tell the
cooked.
difference.
I wonder
Literally,
if
they're
my
the same
students
colors.
are like watching my skin. They're like everything's the same color. What's this dude doing?
Yeah, that's so interesting. So you don't like the toss charts?
I don't. It's not that I don't like them. I think I'm just gonna used to trading view a lot. I like both. Like I don't really hate either one. I do think toss is a little like outdated
Hmm.
style. Like you can do a little editing and stuff, but so you can do in trading view. So like, but I have enough screen space to actually have both. So I actually like sometimes if I'm like really thinking about a trade, I'll look at both just to have my different perspective of what the charts are telling me to confirm on both of them, and I feel a little better about the trade. But usually, mostly I'm looking at trading view, and then I'll enter my Thinkorswim or enter on my CFD broker, or I'll enter on like if I'm doing like if I'm trading on a prop firm or something, I'll enter that on the side.
Hmm.
Like I got an MFFU account fund the other day. So like for example, today I took like a small like $500 trade. Even though I said I didn't trade, I took like one tiny scalp by myself, and that was it. So like that's the way I do it. Like TradingView is kind of like the main
That's
thing, and everything
interesting.
else.
I think for anyone who's like not a trader that's listening to this, and
So
you might be
confusing.
thinking like, oh, like why don't you just like use multiple platforms? Like, as a trader, once you get used to one thing, it's really difficult to switch over because you it's hard to explain like especially like the way you have your chart laid out and like your order execution laid out, like even a small little change throws me off, and like it makes my execution slower, and then if your execution is a little bit delayed, especially if you're like scalping a lot like I do, that's the difference between you making money or not.
You gotta get one of those Elgato streaming decks. And I've seen people use it, and then they use them to like buy, sell half, buy half. I've seen people do like trade really fast. They'll
Oh, like the little buttons.
Yeah, it's like an Elgato stream
Yeah,
deck.
yeah, those are
Streamers use it, and
cool.
they're just like boom, boom, boom. I have one, but I use it for streaming. And like I don't even really use it 'cause I'm not like a fucking streamer, but I got one. But like people do that like to. I feel like I'm messing around and like I'll just fucking buying and selling shit.
That's what I'm scared. I feel like I'm gonna like accidentally press like buy
But
10,000 shares of Tesla.
yeah, people that scalp really fast. I've seen them. They talk about like hotkeys and then
Yeah.
using that to make their trading better. But now like people that are not like too familiar with trading, it's like what do you think are like three softwares that like you feel like you need? For example, for me, one is TradingView, two is my broker. In this case, would be Thinkorswim, and three would probably be some prop firm account I can use just to like full port shit. I think it's
Yeah.
like the three softwares that I feel like I need. Do you
I,
have one or is it just Thinkorswim?
I literally only use Thinkorswim. I do like to have, I do have sometimes trading view charts next to me just because sometimes on Thinkorswim, for example, let's say a stock like gaps, like has like a mega gap or gaps like crazy, where like I forgot the stock. The other day there was a stock, or even actually today there was a stock that gapped from like $70 to like $15. It's like ridiculous. Uh, Thinkorswim compresses the charts.
Yeah, I hate that.
I hate
That's
that,
so
and like
annoying.
I'm looking at them, I like, and
Looks fat and
I
like
like don't
everything looks
get it. I'm like
tiny.
I don't know what it's actually doing, so I'll like go on Trading View and like expand it. But um, besides that, I just need like Thinkorswim. Like I love how Thinkorswim is very different than other brokerages. Like I like their active trader. I like the ladder. Have you ever used
Yep.
the ladder? Like you can place limit and
Yeah, so I use
stop
that.
or it's
You
real.
can use it for options too. They
Oh
will
yeah,
have the
that's sick.
ladder of the options price,
Hmm.
so I can set limit orders like really, really fast, like you said.
That's
Really
so it's
fast.
so
Really.
useful because um, I think a lot of trader. I think with whenever you're taking trades, something that people don't understand is that you can find a trade that you really like, that you want to get into, but you're not guaranteed to get filled at the price that you want. Like order execution by itself is like a skill set. That's literally besides like the technicals and like the psychology. Just being understanding like how to place orders, when to get filled, what orders to use. Should you use limit orders, stop limit orders, or sometimes like usually I recommend never to go market because it's kind of random. You can get filled if the price you can go market and the price drops, it could fill you like 10 cents late. You know what I mean? Or price goes up, it can fill you 10 cents late. Like that's like a whole other skill set. Like I have students who like I could tell are like skilled traders. Like they're becoming really good. I see their progress, but the one thing they're lacking is that order execution where they don't seem to get filled on like the good setups. because sometimes you got to place a couple of orders. You can't just place one and then expect to get filled. Sometimes I place like 6 orders. First four don't fill, one of them does. You know what I mean? Then you got to cancel them and then place more. That's like a whole other skill set too, which is interesting.
And I think it's like the most interesting because like you see people that join like your group or whatever, and they want to copy your trade. But sometimes it's like, hey, I'm getting in, and sometimes you like I heard in trading say I'm getting in. Maybe you don't have your broker set up, or maybe you just have to go and click market order. Sometimes it could be like just a little bit of a swing of like the price, whether for good or bad. The way I always told people is like, hey, if you try to follow me, you do gotta be aware of like, hey, price moved a couple, like you can't really do anything about it. So either
Yeah.
you can wait for price, or maybe be okay with like, hey, I'm taking a couple points of extra risk, or sometimes you're liking, you get a better feel. Like that can happen too. Like I enter in and price kind of goes against me the first minute or whatever, and then people get better fills. But it goes back into like the order execution. Now we can market order indices for the most part, and you get good fills because it's so much traded. But some of those prop firms, a lot of people don't know, but they have plugins set up to give you bad fills. For example, one of the first prop firms I ever heard of was the funded trader TFT. If anybody, like, that was a really big one when prop firms were really were blowing up. I had a friend of mine like, dude, this company is the best. You gotta try them. I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna give them a try. It was like a new like prop firms were like a new hot thing. Dude, I would fill in this fucking shit, and you literally my fill order would be outside of the candle, and I'm like, how the fuck is that even
Yeah.
possible, bro? Like I'd be like entering instantly down $300,
I
and I'd be like, what the fuck is this
It's
shit?
really spready. Is that why? Like it was
It's just no. So then I looked more into it, and I found that there is literally companies that go to these prop firms, and they say, hey, use our plugin. They have a plugin that will fill because it's all demo trade. Like nobody, like it's very rarely you're on a live account with these prop firms, and then the plugin is like, hey, if this is the price, they'll do one standard deviation out of it, so like $2 out of it to screw you over. Same thing with like the fees, or same thing with
That's
like the candle.
crazy. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
and
That's
that's
ridiculous.
why like this was more on the forex side. I don't think we really have that problem with the
Yeah.
futures guy. Like the futures firms are a little much better. The forex is like kind of like it's always been a wild west. The forex, like 'cause there's very like regulations so different between countries. Some of these companies are like based out of whatever, and they can mess around with it a little bit more. So that's why I kind of stay away from forex prop firms in general because they can do shit like this. Now I know the funded trader for sure did it. They went down and there was like another backup and it's been drama. The fucking owner was like on the run for a while. And then it's a whole fucking mess. I don't want to say all of them do it. If you find a prop firm and you like, whatever, stick to them. I don't care. I'm just speaking like out of my experience with it.
Yeah.
Would you ever do a prop firm account? Like you never passed one, you never tried it?
I've never tried it.
Would
I
you
never
try
even
it?
like heard of it until like I got onto TikTok and like started
It's
making
big on
videos. Like
TikTok.
literally, I've never heard of it until like, and then I started seeing that everyone is doing prop firms. I've literally have never bought an account, never bought a challenge.
Would you ever?
Never. I was going to.
Be good serious.
I was like gonna do it to like prove a point because I had a student that was like, "Oh yeah, I can't pass the account. Like what the hell, bro?" And I'm like, "Bro, like you're just not like
Skill.
you're just like you're not putting in the work. Like that's don't blame the prop firm." I was gonna do it just to prove a point, but then I had never ended up because it's just like another. As I'm trading, I'm on my Thinkorswim, and then I have to then I have to go to another platform. Plus, I would never want like me to like miss out on an actual like real life, live trade on my account by just being on the prop firm, especially with like scalping if I'm going like in and out, or if I'm, which I've been doing a lot recently. So I've never, I'd be down though, like just for fun.
Well, I mostly do because I'm mostly like if I'm mostly trading options, I cannot trade pre-market or after hours. But if
Yeah.
I do a prop firm, I can do like a futures prop firm, so I can trade during those times. And then maybe like maybe it'll be late at night. I'm playing video games with my friend, and I'm just like
I
have a
kind of want
chart
to
up.
try it. Just so, which one do you recommend?
I recommend the one I like the most is Fund the Futures Network, because they're a little bit more expensive up front. No, expensive is relative. Like it's like $200. So I mean, like to me, it's not really that much. But what I like about them is as soon as you're funded, you can get payout instantly. There's no like waiting 2 weeks for a payout. There's no
Oh, that's cool.
consistency rule, and they pay like sometimes they pay out in the same hour. So like you can make $2,000, take 1,000, keep trading for the day. They already paid you out, and then they take it again. While a lot of those other ones, like for example, Top Step is like I think one of the biggest, if not the biggest, is once you're funded, you can only take 50% for the first 30 days, and you need to wait 5 days of at least $200 per day. So like, okay, like once I'm funded, I just want to like trade it like it's a real account. So like, it's all give or takes, but
So what's the size? So it's for $200. What's the size of the account?
Shoot, I don't know off the top of my head. Shoot, I think
Like
it's
a
like
100K or
like a
so?
100K. Some yeah, I don't
And
want to
then
say off the top of my head because they're always running sales. Like for
yeah,
example, like
facts.
if you get like for example like I have like a fucking link with them or whatever, you get 35% off. So it's like I don't remember off
So
the
and
top.
then you have to make what, like 8% or something?
I think it's less than that. I think it's 5 to 6%. I think
It's like
most.
not. That's like very.
Yeah, it's
And
doable.
the
Like now,
drawdowns what, like
the
5%?
drawdown's like 3%. So it's like you know, your drawdown's not huge, but also the profit target is not like 10% or nothing crazy. From what I remember, like I don't even know. Like I passed an MFFU one, and all of them are a little bit different. This MFFU one I passed it's like an expert one, and like it's a 150K account. I had to make 12,000, but that's on the really high end. So what's the math on that? Like 6%?
Wait, so it's 12% on a which what?
No, it was 150,000, and you
Uh,
have to make 12,000. But that's
uh,
considered high. Usually it's 9,000 for 150,000. So whatever
yeah,
the
no,
fuck the math that is.
on 150,000 for 12,000.
I generally like
Yeah, I'm
my
like
math
blank.
skills
I'm like
are.
blanking out.
Yeah, I know it's shocking for the
You said
Harvard.
12,000 on a 150K count.
Yeah, and then I passed in a trade. The nice thing though, I like them if a few I can pass in one trade, and usually like I know I'm gonna hit like 75% of my trades, so like I can just take one. Like now again, this is kind of like not saying you should trade this way, but if I'm on a proper account, I don't really care to trade like properly. I'm gonna just pass in a trade, like 'cause like you said, I don't want to miss out on other opportunities to make real money. So I'm gonna fund it as soon as possible, and then I'm gonna take it a little more like serious, a little more like
Yeah.
my risk management gonna be a little tighter. But all the guys that I know that made like millions of dollars with prop firms, like as bad as it sounds, they're always full port. As
Dude,
bad as it sounds, they always like fucking go all in, make a fat payout, get paid out, and then they're into the next prop firm or like the next challenge, the next
see,
whatever.
like I have like no problem with that. Like in terms of like if you just want to, if you're like a good trader and you just want to milk prop firms. I literally made a TikTok the other day. I'm like, listen, if you like trade on a prop firm account, like, and you're just profitable on a prop firm, like that, I still don't consider you like a full profitable trader because you would never full port on your live account. That's
Yeah.
not something you would ever do. So like,
What
it's
about the dudes that are like, they have in their this is like my fucking worst pet peeve is the dudes that have in their bio 6 figures funded, seven
yeah.
figure funded trader, claim my fucking shit in my bio, and I'm like, dude, like how can you even call yourself a professional trader or like a full time trader,
It's like
right?
a payout for like a
Because
year
you got
ago.
a $2,000 payout, or even like you said, it's like you could have full port. Like I know so many people that have just full passed it because it's 50-50 in a day. It goes up or down. Some people will be right 3, 4, 5 times in a row just by luck and get like a 10, 20, $30,000 payout. And you're like, oh, I'm this profitable trader. No, you're fucking not. You just gambled it. Like at the casino, I can hit 5 blackjack hands in a row technically, and then fucking, oh damn, I'm this professional gambler. You got lucky. I want to see you do that shit on a real fucking when your money's on the line. That's what really makes a good trader versus not, in my opinion.
It's so I made this video the other day. Of course, I made it a little bit dramatic, but I literally said that if you are a funded trader and you're exclusively profitable on a funded account, you are not a real profitable trader. People started going crazy in the chat. Of course, I kind of made it like
More extreme.
controversial, yeah, more extreme.
Any big trader tag you? Like, no, fuck you, dude.
No, no, like I feel like that's like not something you could like disagree with. Like I feel like if like a professional trader heard that, they'd be like, yeah, like you're only if you could be profitable on a live account where you're risking your real money, your hard-earned money. You know you might lose it on a trade. And then you're still able to be consistently profitable day in and day out. I think consistency is ultimately what makes a trader a professional. But all of these funded account guys, like, see, I'm all for you guys making money, you guys getting your payouts, you guys milking the prop firms. Like, good for you. That's great. You're making money. But like you said, a lot of them are just full porting. That's not consistency. Like, I rather give me a trader who's making $100 a day consistently, right? Over a guy that like, yeah, made like 10K once every X amount of days, right? And then loses the other ones. You know what I mean? Because at least if you're making $100 a day consistently, you could like scale that. Like you could 100% scale your risk, get a little better at trading and scale that 2, 3, 400 a day. Versus someone who just makes 10K gets lucky one time. You can't. There's no scalability with that. I feel.
No, I agree with you, and I think that's the con of the prop firm side. It's like kind of gives people this false belief of like, hey, I'm profitable because I'm cutting a couple payouts, and it's like, yeah, again, like you said, it's like I'm happy you getting a couple payouts. I'm not trying to be like a dick about it, but also it's like the reality is if you're gonna be seriously a trader, and it's hard to say like a professional trader because like it's not like a profession,
Yeah,
right? So
yeah,
it's like if you're just gonna be a trader, like in general, like it's gonna be like a career path or something you really like. Even in calling a career path feels like really odd to me.
that's how I
Even
want
though
to
I've been a
define it.
trader
Yeah.
for so long, it's like it's not like a career to me. It's just like I trade and I make money. Like it's not like fucking going to office looking for promotion. Like
Yeah, I mean, it's your job. Like, you maybe not live off your trading, but you day in and day out make money with trading. I
yep.
consider that a professional. Like someone who like they don't work a job, they trade for a living. You know, I'm not saying they don't have to have other businesses, but like you know what I'm saying. Like it's not professional. Like oh you got to work at like a like bank or something.
Yeah, I mean, I had a couple guys like in my group. I had the guy that like made like $300,000 day trading last year, and he still like kept his job. Like he works from home. He's like doesn't take him a lot of time to whatever fucking trades and his job. And he's like, I make $300,000 here. I make 150,000 on my job, 150,000. And he's doing
Yeah,
really good. Like some people don't have to quit. Like what I'm saying. People are always so quick to be like. I have like kids tell me it's like, oh, should I drop out of college to pursue day trading? I'm like, first of all, you're a fucking kid. You got all day long. What are you gonna do? You gonna trade for 2-3 hours and the rest of the day smoke weed and fucking be a loser? No, go to fucking school, stay day trade on the side, pick a sport, go to the gym. You got plenty of time. Like when I was day trading, I had my Army Reserve, I had full time job, I was going full time to school, and I still had time to hit up the gym, have somewhat of a social life. So you have the time a day. Just be very don't waste time. Like, be productive with your time. Don't waste it. Don't just sit around and scroll TikTok and do a little brain rot. Which Costco guys or whatever.
yeah.
Fucking, do shit that's important. Go out, meet your friends, whatever. Trade with them, and don't gotta give up something. Just do everything.
I traded like literally when I was in college. Like I had a full 15 credit hour workload, and I literally traded in college. So like, anyone could do it, literally.
Well, wait, was your dad like? Was he working still when you was teaching you, or like was he only full time trading?
Well, my dad, he had like businesses. He like didn't really have to like
Yeah.
manage every day. Like he just managed from home essentially. So he was able to just trade and then manage his businesses just like off his phone, basically.
He's probably getting more headaches trying to teach you than actually like his businesses. Teaching somebody's dude, people don't understand. Teaching people how to trade is not fucking easy.
It was
It's a
like
headache.
interesting. Like I would always like sit next to him, and I would just like see like him make money, and I'm like I don't understand like what happened there. And he's just like yeah like this and that. I'm like I don't get it. And then over time, my first ever like victories in trading were like finding trades for my dad. Like I would like
Little
scan.
scout. When people go hunting, you're the dog that find the
Yeah,
truffle.
no, literally. Like I would scan and I'd be like, "What do you think about this stock?" And he's like, "Yeah, no." And then I'd find another one, and he's like, "Oh yeah, this is good." And then he would make money, and then I would walk away, and be like, "Yeah, like I found some shit.
Would you get a little commission fee?
I found some shit. He made money."
Would you
on."
get like a commission fee?
No,
Or
no,
you just
no,
get a little- He's like,
Unfortunately, I didn't. It wasn't a commission. And then I started paper trading, bro, next to him. And then the first thing I ever made money on, like real money, was Tesla. Dude, and it was like this strategy, bro. It was crazy. Like, it's gonna sound like weird, but essentially, whenever Tesla had like a big move up or down, you could like play the reversal in 10 to 15 seconds, make a few dollars, like off like 10, 20, 30 shares. Literally, like a big wick up, I'd go short. Every time it would come back in, and we'd make money. And like I didn't get it. I saw him doing it. I'm like I don't understand this, bro. And then I tried it, and it like yeah, sometimes you like, and if you start to lose money, you immediately exit, instantly. I like didn't understand this, and then I started doing it. I'm like, why is this working? Like, why am I making money? Like, I don't get this shit. And then eventually, there was one day where we were doing this, and it was working really well. We did it on Tesla and Amazon. This was like pre-split 4 years ago. Tesla, it worked really well. I don't know how, but it just made money.
so it was just insane, like quick scalps. Like, it was
Dude,
just
like
little
insane.
boom,
Like there would
boom.
be days my dad would make like 20,000 just doing this on Tesla, and I'm like, I didn't get it, but I did it and it worked, bro.
But
Like,
was
it
that like a 1 minute like candle? You just
literally 1 minute
I
candle.
had a guy once tell me that this is fucking hilarious. There's a guy, and he went a little bit off the. He was a good trader, and he went a little bit off. I don't know. Something happened to him in his personal life. Like, he kind of got a little wonky. And then once he's telling me, it's like, "Yo, Antonio, the only way to Jesus and God is to scalp in trading. Like, what the fuck are you saying,
I
dude?
would agree with that.
He's like, so
I
that's
agree
what
with
it
that
reminds me of.
sentiment.
Like your dad just scalping his tiny
It was
moves.
crazy. No, like it didn't make any sense. And then like I was making like there were a few days went by and we were like making money. And then I was like, and my
Wait,
dad was like, oh, like why don't you try? It was already my dad like funded that account already, and he was like, oh, like why don't you try with real money? I'm like, okay. First day using real money, I remember I logged in to the live account. I'm like shaking, like I'm like literally trading like this, and
it's not
then
even your own money. That's the problem.
it was
Like,
his
people
money.
don't
Like,
understand. It's not
yeah,
even your own money. Adds an extra layer.
yeah, and I'm like, okay, like, and then took a couple of ones, kind of like exit a little too early, blah blah
Like
blah.
$3,
Made like
$4,
three.
but
Yeah,
felt
I'm
like
like, okay,
huge.
like I kind of got a little comfortable, and then continued doing it, bro. These fucking scalps on Tesla, like it almost seemed random to me, but then once you get into that flow, dude, you read it like you almost like you're one with the stock, like you feel it. And first day made like $730 in 3 hours, and it like after that I was like, this was the first time I ever made like any type of like actual good money ever, and it like blew my mind. And then the next day made like 300, which like second day ever,
That's
like
big.
pretty good, like not bad.
Oh
And
no,
then
totally.
and all of a sudden like, and then that strategy like stopped working. And then my dad like found another stock to do the same shit on, and then I did, and then we would kind of like move in tandem, and then eventually like I started like you know, adapting my trading to more like to different types of scalps, different types of trades.
No, I get it. It's when you say you're wanting to stock, like that's also like sometimes learning like how stock moves. Like when you trade the same thing over and over again, you kind of just learn how it moves or like the
Yeah.
key levels that it reacts off of, or maybe even certain time of day.
Yeah.
I remember once when I was younger, I was like, yeah, we're like smoking weed or whatever, and then when I would smoke weed and I go drive, and I'm like one with the car, and I wasted when I drove and I was high, which is please don't do, right? But I grew up in California. It's very normal there. I feel like I was the car, and it's a nice no. Like you see, you're laughing because you know exactly what I'm talking about, right? Like if you ever like got fucking like
Me drive when
no, bro.
high?
Like I took a brownie with a friend, right? And I didn't know how much it was. Like we didn't know how much it was, so we just fucking ate the whole thing. I was fucked up for like 3 days, and I was driving to go to work, right? This is like when I was 18, and I was like, I thought I was the car, and I'm like, so I'm driving, and I'm switching lanes, and I literally felt like I was like moving. And that's how sometimes I feel when like I'm in the flow, like when you're talking about the flow thing. I feel like I'm moving with the stock. I'm like, okay, we're gonna bounce here, perfectly bounces there. We're gonna reject there. And then everything is like flowing together.
Dude, so I like now I do that same sort of thing with like penny stocks. Dude, penny stocks, people don't know this, but they're penny stocks, the closest thing in trading, at least in my methodology, to free money is trading certain situations with penny stocks, especially when they're very liquid, like they're doing millions and millions of shares that day and there's no spread. You can get in and out, zero slippage. Like what that means is on a normal stock that's, let's say, above $1, right? This could be a little technical here, but the minimum spread is a cent. If you get into a stock with 1 cent spread with like, let's say 10,000 shares, you are right off the bat down $100 just off the spread, right? But on a penny stock, sometimes the spread is like 0.00001. No spread, essentially. You can get in with 50,000 shares and get out right away without any slippage. So you can get like absurd size, and the way that the order flow sets up, it like almost just tells you where it's going. They're a little rare, but when it happens, it's literally almost free money. But anyway, the point that I'm trying to make is like, yeah, like I feel like everyone has that one thing that they feel like you could like feel the stock moving. It's always like penny stock. I love penny stocks.
Do you ever trade OTC, like over the counter stocks? Like those are like, so if people don't know, so you have the stock market, which is like the NASDAQ, and it's like the main, like we're all like, if you're a decently sized company, you're trading at, and then there's one layer under, which is OTC. And those tend to be like really like kind of shaky companies, like real cheap companies. There's penny stocks, almost have no spread, a lot of them, but sometimes there's like occasions that they
They have
that
very
they,
small spread.
no, they have widespread, sorry, but sometimes there's occasion where like an OTC stock has news, like maybe it's gonna get added to the finally to like the big release, the New York Stock Exchange, and then there's like they'll moon like from 0.0010 they're trading at to like 0.001, which is like a 500% gain or 1,000%
Yeah.
gain, where the math is. And there's another layer in the OTC, which is pink slips, and that's just fucking degenerate gamble.
Isn't
You
that
never
like
looked into
the
that?
Wolf of Wall Street?
That
No.
the pink. So exactly we're talking about the Wolf of Wall Street. What he did in the movie, he was selling pink slips and OTC stocks, which were like really sketchy companies that like made, 99.9% of them are gonna fail and never make it out of it. But they have a ton of like the broker. If you sell those, they give you a ton of commissions. So what he would do is tell people like, hey, this is this really cheap penny stock, but they're like the hottest company coming out of Ohio, and it's like some garbage company. So he was lying. That's why he went to jail. But he was selling.
Cleveland.
But he was selling pink slips to people, and he sell like $10,000 worth of shares, and the brokerage firm will give him like 4 or 5,000, and because they're like, dude, we can't sell it to anybody this shit because it's garbage. It's not gonna be worth anything. So that's why he ended up going to jail though, because he was lying out of his teeth and pretty much selling shit.
I never. The one thing about OTC stocks, like I have very like limited experience, but the one thing is they fill you like extremely.
Oh, they're awful.
You can't place limit orders. I don't think.
Yeah, they're
could be
awful
wrong.
for the most part,
Yeah, you
but
like-
you'll
yeah.
have the rare like.
No, you can only place market. Literally, like I don't. You can't place any limit or stop orders. I could be wrong, but like from what I remember,
It may depend on the brokerage too. Like not even all of them offer it.
yeah, 100. Plus, when you exit, they'll like you could like it'll go up. Let's say like 5 cents in your favor. You exit, like it won't. It could drop. It'll like hold your order. It won't fill you right away.
Yeah, because there's like nobody's trading them. Like if you look at the volume, it's like five
Yeah,
shares traded for the
facts,
past hour, and you're like, what the fuck? But one of
Yeah.
the first strategies I learned, which was like Timothy Sykes, it's just like the energy of like the ultimate like stock fucking guru ads,
Yeah.
Rolls Royce, and like of course watching his ads, I want to learn from him. This motherfucker he got evicted from Miami, which is the funny part. He actually like ran out of money from like whatever fuck he was doing, got evicted from his Miami house. It was actually pretty funny. And he posted
guy.
he posted in his story. He goes, once I was DMing him, and he's got a huge Instagram. He's like 1.2 million followers, maybe even more. And I was like, yo, I got into trading because of you. Like, thank you. And he posted me on his story, and he's like, my student killing it. I'm like, bro, I never say that I actually got good at. He's like, you got me into trading, but don't not take claim, because I'm like, I didn't know I actually learned how to trade from you. But one of the strategy would be like these supernovas, and he'd be like trading these OTC stock that were up like 10,000%, and they call them like supernova. That's like my first like taste of like fucking penny stock and that world. But yeah, he fucking tried to take claim. Fucking he thought me. So then I like unfollowed him after that. I'm like, you know what, fuck you, dude.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's fucked.
Yeah, but he's whatever.
okay, he's- Dude, there was a picture that he photoshopped that was like so clear.
Yeah, it was
Dude,
so funny.
No, there was the original photo. I wish we could pull it up. The original photo was like a woman in a pool,
I remember that.
and like she had a shadow, and he photoshopped her
Forget-
out of the photo. Photoshopped the shadow out too. Put himself in, and then forgot to Photoshop the shadow in. So it's literally just like him, like.
the sun right in front of him, but there's nothing behind. I remember that. I remember there was
It
news.
was so clearly photoshopped.
Dude,
Like,
he's literally like, when you think of like the stock market guru that gives everybody a bad name, it's him. But people don't know this, but in 2008, he did a TV show that was about stock trading. So he's like the first like TV personality related to trading. So he kind of paved the way for like people to get educated, because he's older, like, right? He's an unk. People call me unk on fucking social media because I'm fucking 27. This motherfucker's like in his 40s, but like that's
Yeah.
a real unk. That's how he got into it. And then he actually worked, I think, at a hedge fund, probably like the fucking Wolf of Wall Street guy. Like
yeah,
got
he
fired.
seems like yeah.
Yeah, but he's fucking, he got me into it with those ads, man. I fell for that shit. I was fucking 17, like late at night between League of Legends games, fucking watching
Yeah.
YouTube ads.
Watch ads.
Of Timothy Sykes and Ty Lopez, like the two fucking OG fucking
I
gurus.
still remember his like, yeah, I just read a bunch of books in front of my Lamborghini.
Dude, I've spoken to Ty Lopez. Like, I have his number. I've spoken to him on a handful of occasions. I
Really?
met him in LA because I had a friend. So my wife had a friend. She was married, or she's still married, I think. I don't know. I think she's still married to a guy that did Bitcoin like from 2009. This dude owned like, I'm talking about like 50 million plus of Bitcoin. So anyway, I met up with him. We go to the beach because they're, we got kids, whatever, they're hanging out. And then he's friends with Ty Lopez. Ty Lopez got into crypto, I guess, and he did the course for him. And Ty Lopez was like fucking selling his course. And then he's like, yeah, dude, I'm going to LA. Pull up with me. So I went to LA because I was living in California. And I actually met with him. I'm like, yeah, nice to meet you. And he gave me his number. And then we spoke a couple times, like mildly, like whatever.
Should we get him on the pod?
I can ask, dude.
That'd
I
be-
mean, I don't know.
that'd
If
be
I don't
kinda
know if it's a good look at this point because like so much shit came out about him. But
Dude, we could like interrogate him. Like,
I would say he's definitely like he knows shit about business. I don't know if he's like how legit. Like I don't even know what the fuck he really does. But like he seems like he does know like some.
you like
good
have to.
business
He like
principle.
did like no, I mean, like he definitely generated like over 10 million in online sales. Like you have to like
Dude,
know
like, no,
what you're doing.
he generated over 50 million.
Or yeah, like that's what I'm
No,
saying.
no,
Like,
the number came out. It was like over 50 million on like the fucking here in my garage shit, like insane.
yeah. It was no, it was off like what, like very low ad spend too. Like he didn't spend that much on ads, and then like made like
I don't even
dude,
know.
like I hate like there's a lot of people that will just like call out. They'll be like, oh yeah, he's just a guru. Oh, he's just a scammer. They just like for some people it's actually true they're scammers.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
for
it's
like for a
unfortunate.
lot of times most people just say that because they feel it's like an excuse for themselves. They're like, yeah, like I'm not like him or anything like him. I'm actually broke, but he's probably a scammer, and that's like an excuse for themselves to not actually like
Yeah,
work hard.
like do homework on people, and it's like I tell people this: there is shitty people in all like industries. There's shitty police officer, but then there's amazing police officers.
Yeah.
There are shitty teachers that don't give a fuck about their job, but then there's amazing teachers that help students and want them to get better. Do you have shitty politicians, which is probably like
Yeah.
the worst industry of them all?
That's
Probably
the worst
most of them are.
Dude, they're shitty podcast hosts, and then there's like amazing ones. Like us.
Yeah, you know, maybe I'm not an amazing one. We're not an amazing one yet, but maybe hopefully soon.
Yeah, we're on the come up.
We're in the come up of it, but you know, and then you know that's unfortunate reality of it. There's bad apples everywhere. Like even at school, like you know, there's shitty kids at school that are bullies, and then there's great kids.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You think
I'm
bully-
not speaking out of
you think
experience.
bullying is a good thing?
You know what? Like I was bullied a lot, fucking dude. So I grew up in one of the worst fucking places to be. No, I don't want to say the worst, but like it's pretty rough fucking neighborhood, and there was a lot of gangs in my neighborhood, and there was fucking kids. So I come in. I'm from Italy. I didn't speak English. So these motherfuckers mess with me, dude. So I had to learn how to throw hands, but I think it helped me, you know, when I get older.
Helps
so,
you with trading.
Yeah, like I didn't go home and like, dude, like I never went home and cried to my parents. I'm like, damn, this kid's talking shit. Like I'm like, because I was never the type to complain. I'm like, no, like, okay, they got me today. I need to see him tomorrow. And then we just be at church next to my school. We go behind and fucking throw hands or whatever. Like, even if you lose, at least they get respect from you. Like, even if you lose, like,
Yeah,
you know, at
100%.
the end of the day, you like up it up, whatever. And then that's how I moved on through school in the beginning because I didn't fucking know English. And I was in the ELS classes. And usually in the ELS classes, apart from the kids that don't actually know English, is going to be the kids that don't give a fuck about school because, you know, they're from rough neighborhoods and maybe don't have the people around them to help them, so they don't have the best grades. So like, you know, that's how you grow up. But then, you know, it is what it is. I think people take it differently. Some people let it beat them up, and some other people like take it to fucking get better or whatever.
No, I agree. I think everyone is like bullied to some degree.
Yeah, it's
some
gonna
people
happen,
are.
you know.
Sometimes it's like really fucked up, and like kids like
No,
kill
no,
themselves
totally.
and
I'm,
shit,
not,
but-
I'm totally I'm totally as against it as you can be, but just because I'm against it, I'm not like gonna be like it doesn't happen.
It's also
like
like
it
a part
does
of life.
happen.
It's like
Yo.
it like builds character.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, you know, it's just, you know, it sucks, I think, but it's part of life and you can't just ignore it. You have to kind of be like aware of it.
Do you ever like bully like your students? You're like, yo, you're not profitable. Like
I mean,
you guys
I'm
suck.
definitely hard on my students. Like, I'm not like, I'm really hard on my students, but you gotta keep in mind, like, I also was in the army. Like, with drill sergeants, they'll fucking tear you to shreds. So that's like my kind of teaching style because I'm like, dude, if I don't care for you here when you're like trying to learn, and I'm like, yeah, you did good, man. Like, keep it up. Then you go to the markets and lose real money. Like, that's gonna hurt way more than if I'm like, nah,
it's,
dude.
it's like
that's-
tough love, but then
Yeah.
like you gotta combine like tough love. Like I have students like sometimes asking me some questions and like, bro, like I like roll my eye. I'm like, bro, like this shit is so simple. I got like, you know what I mean? And then I have to kind of like,
You take a step back because you're like,
yeah,
to
like-
you it's simple because you've seen it so many times. You have to put yourself in
I don't
their
like
shoes.
roast the ball. I'll like be like a little critical. I'm like, yeah, bro, like you can't be doing this. And then I'll always start with that. And then I end it off with, you know, a little bit more of a loving approach.
And I think also it like comes down to like some students. I'm like, if you're not taking it seriously and I see that, I'm not gonna be like,
I'm not gonna care.
I'm not gonna care as much as like
yeah.
another student's like, hey, you're really trying hard. You didn't ask me a stupid ass question that has nothing to do with anything. Which then I'm gonna give you more like good answer. But if someone is like, dude, I know you're not taking this serious, it's like, hey, trust me, I give a fuck way less than you because like I don't care what you do. I've been profitable for a long time and I got fucking thousands of students I gotta worry about. So I gotta be very specific with my time. But somebody's like, hey, you know, I charted this up. Like, can you give me some feedback? I always try to, even if it's like a DM. It's like I always try to answer all my DMs like myself. I answer. I don't fucking hire people to answer for me.
Bro, like sometimes I'll have like students join up, for example, like in the mentorship, which is a much more like hands-on approach. Like I'm live on the mic, and there'll be a day I'm like, all right, guys, like any questions? And then I get like no questions in the chat, and I'm like, guys, I find it extremely hard to believe that out of everybody here, no one has a single question of what we did today, or what you learned, or your back testing, or your trade analysis. Like this is the time to be asking questions. I almost whenever someone comes in and like is a little annoying and asks a lot of questions,
Mm-hmm.
I actually like that because I'm like, yeah, like I can tell you're like about it, like you actually want to improve. When I started, like I asked my dad, my dad and I talked about trading like 24/7. It's all we would talk about. Even now, like I call up my dad, we like talk about trading. You know what I mean?
No, I agree. It's kind of like the guy you want to be the student in trading that sits in front of class. Imagine when you're in a high school or in college and you want to sit in the back because you want to be cool and not pay attention. But then you have the nerds or losers that are sitting in the front. They're asking questions. They're the teacher's pet. They're there early. They're there after. But those guys get all the A's. And that's what you want to be in trading. You want to be the guy that's there as many streams as you can, backtest as much as you can, ask as many questions as you can, and hey, a lot of times you are paying these educators like for their, to be in there and asking questions. So take advantage of it. Make the most out of it. Be annoying, right? Because then it's just you absorbing more and more information. On that topic, asking questions, it's a perfect segue. We got a few more minutes, so we're gonna ask some question. The first one actually came from your cousin,
Oh, let's
Greg.
go. Let's
So he left a
go.
comment, and ask it manually if he likes popsicles or candy more. So I'm like,
Wait, what did he say? Let me see.
He says ask him if he likes popsicles or candy more. So is that like an inside joke I don't get, or it's like is that something?
It might be an inside joke because I have
Well,
like a,
if it's an inside joke, you should
no,
know.
but like I think he's like referring to like sometimes like I'll buy.
Is that like a setup? Is that like unicorn, but you guys call it? Oh, this is the popsicle setup.
No, I think it's literally because one time we were like hanging out and like I bought a bag or not a bag like a box of like fruit popsicles and I like ate the entire box like in a single night.
And you weren't like on any substance that night?
No,
You just
well,
fucking hate it.
well, you know, I mean,
might,
listen,
you might need to drug check you if you're just saying.
maybe that's what he's. Yeah, that's. Oh yeah, he's gonna come on the pod.
Yeah. Tell him to call by. I had to follow him back. I didn't realize. I was like, oh shoot. Greg Trades.
Greg Trades, maybe.
Shout out to him.
Shout out, yeah.
I guess I don't even need. I don't. I guess I can. I think I like candy more. I don't like popsicles. I find them annoying.
Really?
I don't know.
Dude, I can eat like a whole. I can eat a whole box.
Dude, candy's way better. Like Sour Patches.
Yeah, I love
like,
candy.
oof,
I
gummy
love sugar.
worms. It's way
I love like
better.
like high chews. I love high chews.
How do you stay disciplined to your work when you have a wife at home? Does she distract you? So we have a girlfriend, a wife. I'll answer first. Does she distract me? Well, she does because she's very fucking sexy. But
Yeah.
I have a 2-floor house. It's a big house. I lock myself in. I get my work done. And then, right after we get work done, we get ready. We go to the gym together. We have breakfast. So I just balance it. It's, balance with life. You can't just have one thing in your life. So
For sure. For me personally, like, I wake up early now. I've been waking up early like 5 a.m.
still, I thought like I bet by 1 week I thought you'd be like, oh yeah, I can't do that anymore.
Dude, I know myself. I knew I would do that. So I was like on the second like this like it was hard to get up yesterday. And then no, today I got up like 6. But yeah, I work in the morning while she's sleeping and then I just try to finish by like 5 or 6
PM.
Yeah, I'm like done with like no, but like I'm
Your
saying
day's long, dude.
not just trading, but like business.
I'm done by 11, 9:30 to 11. I'm out.
Dude, I like I don't know why I love like working. Like I love like sitting
Yeah,
down and working
of
on
course.
shit. Like, you know what I mean? I'm a little bit of a workaholic to be honest. And like if it wasn't for like my girlfriend like reminding me like I could work like the entire day. Cause like I don't know, like sometimes I feel unproductive when I'm not doing anything, and like I'm like oh like I gotta
Yeah, like I wouldn't say I'm working on other aspects of my life. Like let's say at 11 I'm done. I'll go to the gym, so like I still feel productive because I'm working
I
on
consider
myself.
that work though. Like gym is work.
But like I also really enjoy it. Like that's
yeah,
the
exactly,
thing.
exactly.
So,
like
and then when I come back, usually I'll eat, and then like I'll get like some like YouTube videos or something done.
yeah, like that's I'm saying
kinda do
work
the
like
podcast.
encompasses
Yep.
like everything
Okay.
you need to do. Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. What time frames do you recommend for entries?
Okay, love this question. So I think one of the biggest mistakes that a lot of beginner traders make, and this is literally one of the most common questions I get, is like, what time frames do you use? And this is such a bad question. Or no, they ask me what time frame do I use versus.
For entries, which is important, using time frame for entries versus looking for like a trade
Okay,
idea.
I see. Okay, so first thing I would say is always look at multiple time frames. Always. So for me, I always have an eye on the daily chart. I'm always looking at the 15 and the 5-minute chart. For me personally, for my day trading. Other people look at the 4-hour. They look at the hourly. I do look at that one as well. Whatever time frames use, it does not matter. Just look at multiple, and that's how you should come to your decisions. In terms of entries, for me personally, it depends on the time of day. First, like 15 minutes of the day, I'm looking at the 1 minute and the 2 minute. Past 15 minutes, I'm looking at the 5 mostly. And then later in the afternoon, late morning, I'm looking at the 5 and the 15-minute chart.
Yeah, with me, I always tell people this: you need a higher time frame key level. So whenever I get a reaction of a high time frame key level, then I jump in on a 5 minute or below, usually a 5 minute or 1 minute, very rarely a 3 minute. 5 minute and 1 minute, and then I'm looking for an actual entry on the 5 minute, 1 minute. So I'm looking for like an entry model. So something that it's like, hey, short here, long here. But I'm only ever looking at that if I have a larger time frame key area that I'm looking at.
It's like
So
alignment,
I need,
yeah.
I need those two always. If I just see a large time frame key area, but again, no lower time frame like entry signal, I'm not taking that trade because more likely it's going to get disrespected. Or if I'm only seeing a lower time frame entry, but I don't have any high time frame key area near it, I still avoid it. If I get those two together, I'm in a trade, and usually it'll go my way.
Exactly.
So that's the way I see it.
Different people have different ways of finding that alignment. But you can't take the trade without that higher time frame. You know what I mean?
No.
Without the key level you mentioned. So
I look for like a lot of times I call this like a manipulation. So I'm looking for a high time frame key level that like I know a lot of people are watching, and usually I'm waiting for the market to kind of like go maybe slightly above or slightly below it, and then quickly get back into my key level. So I'm like, hey, price maybe wanted to hit some stops or fake some people out on a breakout. For example, people were like, hey, let me long, it's breaking out of this demand zone, and then it quicks right back in like quickly. And then I really like those usually for entries as a reversal, which mostly is why I trade reversals.
yeah, no, I mean, makes sense. Point is always look at multiple time frames. Don't be that guy who's taking 100 trades off the 1 minute chart, just spamming. Like, you ever see those ones on TikTok where the guy, I think his name was Parrot Trade, something like that. It's like a really cringy video. He's like, all right, I'm getting in longs off the 1 minute chart. And then it goes up. He's like, all right, I'm getting out. I got to show you the video, but
I wanna get him on the podcast now so that you can tell him, hey,
I'd like
what's up
that.
with
I'd like
this?
to invite him, yeah.
I like to invite everybody that I don't like on social media, like in real life. I'm like, yo, this is why I don't like you. Like, explain yourself.
Could like roast him on the pod.
Not even roast, but like have a conversation, dude.
Explain
like, why
it,
do you
yeah.
why do you have to be cringy, man? Like, do you
Yeah,
feel
what's
like
your
yo-
problem, bro?
Yeah, dude. Like, let me help you. But it's all love at the end of the day. I think I don't really
Trading is all
care.
about love, you know.
Yeah, I don't really care that much. But guys, another episode. This episode felt a little crazy, dude. Talk about drugs. Talk about.
This was a crazy one. I think we're like, as we're continuing, we're like,
We're just getting too comfortable.
Yeah.
We're like just getting too comfortable.
Yeah.
We just like talk about whatever, like until like we just don't even talk about trading anymore. We're just talking about like.
It's gonna
Like,
become
like
like
Joe Rogan. We talk about bears, chimpanzees, and fucking aliens, and like DMT and all this shit. Eventually, at some point, we'll get to.
I think so.
All right, guys. Well, go subscribe to the YouTube channel. Go listen to Spotify. Go follow Emmanuel on his TikTok and just open a new Instagram.
I actually might still get the old one back. So
All right,
stay tuned on
stay
the
tuned.
yeah.
Anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. This is the last episode before I go to Japan, so I can't fucking wait.
Yeah. Well.
See you guys up in
Yeah.
Japan.
Well, I want to wish you an amazing time in Japan,
Oh,
and thank you.
You'll see on my
everyone.
social media.
Absolutely.